I mean, we're still on Aaron Rodgers. He hasn't played, and we're still talking about Aaron Rodgers. They just, out of everybody who had a very difficult time with Aaron Rodgers being out for the year, you can imagine the New York beat writer, how it gutted them. This was going to be a banner season to write about this dude, and they just can't let it go. What is this? Is this Chad Henne? I think this is Chad Henne they're talking about, who passed on the Jets after the Aaron Rodgers injury. Oh, yeah, this was a bogus call. No doubt about it. 100% bogus call. That drive was the football game. Because once the Jets scored like that, and it was like, wow, we got a shot here? Because I thought the game was over the way they were playing. Once they were in the game after the touchdown, the very first thing I said to myself was, do not give up a touchdown drive here. If you do, the game's over. Do not do that. And when Sauce dropped the pick six, and then we had the Franklin Myers injury penalty, which was total BS. Then we had the obligatory defensive back in the end zone penalty, which, by the way, if they don't call that, nobody is saying anything because the ball was thrown at the feet of the receiver who never would have had a chance, was not interrupted in the way from getting that pass completed in the end zone. So the Cowboys got gift, and they took advantage of all of those gifts and scored a touchdown and ended the game. Jets were done after that. I mean, they had a chance, but it was, all right, now you got to score here. At the end of the half, got to score here. And when they scored the field goal because of the deflection on Zach, it was, all right, well, you get the ball to start the second half. You got to score here. And then that was it. As soon as they could not score and went 3-and-out at the beginning of the second half, it was over. Oh, it's our boy, Ryan Dunleavy. Ryan, great. I picked the right article. Look, Ryan was dead on with Micah Parsons. When we did the draft coverage that year, Ryan loved Micah Parsons, said he was going to be a superstar, and he was dead on. A quick game to me means, all right, you know, when you watch some of these games and you see how the quarterback gets the ball out, I was watching some of that with the Monday night game, with the Sunday night game with the Patriots and the Dolphins, and how quickly Jones was able to get the ball out to some of his receivers. I was like, why don't we do that? How come we don't do that? It's not Dwayne's fault. It's my fault. We ask them to do that. We've cut in the past. It's not his fault either. Whatever. It's a football play. It is what it is. And again, I said it last week. You know whose fault it is? It's Aaron Rodgers' fault. They're not going to say that. Everybody knows it. It was Aaron Rodgers' fault. The play was supposed to go there. You throw the ball. And if for some reason you don't like the play, something happened, you didn't like it, throw the ball away. If he does two things that he's supposed to do, it's a play, go through with it. It's not there, throw the ball away. He does two of those things. And the game continues with Aaron Rodgers. Oh, dude. Is he gone now? Did he go back into his little hole, his retirement hole, now that Aaron Rodgers is gone? I would think that he would, because he came out of the hole only because of the fact that Aaron Rodgers was here, and now I want to talk. I want everybody to know I've got such a big inflated ego that I need everybody to know what I think now that the Jets look like they're going to win. Yeah, okay. Nobody cares about what Joe Benigno says. Nobody cares about Dwayne Brown's absence either, because Dwayne Brown is absent all the time and still plays. Because this is another thing that I've talked about for years with the coaches on both sides. I really cannot stand how I see these coaches around the league and they come up with these kind of game plans. And they're really good game plans. But bottom line is they're different game plans. And I don't ever see that with my teams, with my coaches. I don't see like Nathaniel Hackett last week. What does he do? I believe the very first play call, which was a run call, I think it was like the very same play call they did against Buffalo. It looked like it. You know, we're going to have multiple tight ends. We're going to run the ball. And it was so predictable that the Cowboys were able to, they knew where it was going. They diagnosed it. And it was a what, 2 or 3 yard loss. So instead, wouldn't it be nice if you had a coach, offense, defense, that did things that nobody was expecting? Hey, this week, you know what we're going to do? We're going to do this. We're going to give them this to look at because you know what? They haven't seen it. No, seriously, just imagine if they came out this week and did things that Bill Belichick has never seen them do with Zach Wilson because Hackett's never been here before. And this is only his second game with Zach. So why doesn't Hackett devise something with Zach that has not been seen before? What I'm afraid of is that the Jets feel, you know what, we're not changing. We're still going to have the same approach to our game plan that we had with the Cowboys, that we had for the most part when Zach came in against the Bills, and then we're going to have the rest of the season until Zach gets more experience, until he feels more comfortable, until we can start opening it up more, start bringing in McCall Hardman, we could put this exciting kid Gibson maybe in the backfield, or do all sorts of weird gimmicky or just really creative offensive plays. But we're not going to do that until. That's what worries me. Look, I think most Jet fans believe that Zach is playing with house money here. I think most people believe it. I think there are a lot of anti-Zach fans that believe they shouldn't even be out there. So why don't you just go out there? I'm not saying to just throw the ball 60 times. But can you have about 5 or 10 plays during the course of a game that nobody has seen before? Can you do something where you come out maybe on one series with 4 wideouts? And look, I don't want to see reverses and all that other kind of stuff. And I bet you we probably see one. I bet you we see a reverse with watch if you see Gibson come out for a play in the game against Patriots. You know what's going to happen? They're probably going to do a reverse with him, and he's going to go for about -6 yards because the Patriots will be sitting there waiting for it. Oh, Gibson's on the field. He's going to get the ball now. You know how you trick him? Is to have Gibson out there for 6 or 7 times, and by the 4th or 5th time, that's when you want to run a reverse, or that's when you want to give him the ball. But I don't know if the Jets feel like they can do that they can have a game plan where Gibson can have 6 or 7 times where he's out there, and Hardman should be the guy really that you should be diagramming these types of plays for. That's what he's here for. Because on one hand, it isn't really fair to say, all right, Zach, we're going to have to ramp it up now. That wasn't the plan, but now we're going to do that. Because what I fear is, on one hand, is them getting impatient and saying, all right, yeah, you know what? We're going to have to do this. We're going to have to. Our long-term plan was to have Rodgers as the teacher. The pupil was Zach. This is going to go for a year or two, and then we're ready with Zach. But now they're forced to speed it up. And what happens if they speed it up too soon and they lose everything that they've talked about how much they believe that he's turned the corner, Zach? Zach had this press conference here, and I started to watch it. And then I just realized I don't want to see these press conferences anymore. You know, until the Jets prove they're a different team than last year, I just don't want to do it anymore. All right. Now, one of the things I should add before talking all about Zach, and I'm going to get this out, and that is that, and I said this last year, who is Jeff Ulbrich? Okay, because he has no resume. And I think all he is, and I believe it was Tony Romo, I think, yes, who said he believes that Ulbrich is going to be a head coaching candidate next year. What? Knowing the NFL, knowing the way general managers are, I guess that could be possible. This guy is not head coach material. Okay? Now, maybe when you win a Super Bowl, all right, you start plucking coordinators and things like that. Fine, go ahead and pluck them. But what are we talking about here? It's sort of like an offensive coordinator who has no resume really, and then boom, gets a quarterback thrown onto him that's a really good quarterback. They win, and now they're going to give this guy a job. That's what Jeff Ulbrich is right now with the Jets. Okay? The more talent they have, the better he looks. That's all. There's no elaborate game plan that we've seen from Jeff Ulbrich ever that leads us to believe that he's some creative defensive genius. Nothing. And how do things go now? We talked about this. Regarding DJ Reed's comments last week on them being a Chicago Bear, 86 defense, and we're going to be one of these defense. Yeah, how's that looking right now, DJ? Let me tell you one thing that those great defenses always did. And that's what they did was they did what they did the first game and continued that every week, which is make big plays, not take an entire game off. And I don't know what's going on with Sauce and his hands. I really don't. But since he's been a pro, he has brick hands. And Coach Saleh can do all he wants, and it's his job, and he should be doing it, to kiss his butt. But I'm not hearing it anymore. And I would guess Sauce feels the same way. You are never going to be among the best ever cornerbacks that ever played this game until you start picking passes off. Okay? Now, to show you how much I still believe in Sauce, though, this goes to Jeff Ulbrich and Saleh, that's the defense they just play with. The defense of, this guy's going to be on this side of the field, and that guy's going to be on that side of the field, and that's just how they play. Well, I'm sorry, but if that's how they're going to always play, and they're never going to adapt, I am going to question whether or not this particular group defensively has what it ever takes to be that type of defense. Now, maybe they'll be a top 10 defense, but they're going to have to rely on Aaron Rodgers coming back next year, or at some point getting a quarterback in here, whoever that is, that can help light the scoreboard up, because offense wins Super Bowls now. So talk about Bears 86 defense and all that. Forget that. Okay? I just don't see it. Not with these guys. You have got to be able to be creative enough and smart enough as a defensive coordinator and coach to go, you know what? This is the week that we are Cooks is out. They don't have anybody else that we're afraid of. Sauce, one-on-one with CeeDee Lamb, no matter where he goes. Now, you tell me, if Gardner covers Lamb the entire game last week, where's the Cowboys? How are they moving the chains? Maybe they move the chains a couple times. Maybe they have a couple of drives. But this constant picking up third downs, keep moving the ball, most of that was because of CeeDee Lamb. How about the one that just had me just like, I give up, was the one when they had like 3rd and 13 or something like that. And they allowed CeeDee Lamb to pick up 13, 14 yards. And I don't even know who was covering him. I think they were in his zone. That's some sort of mastery on defense. But that's the way they play. That's how it works for them. Well, that is not going to get it done. Not to the level of greatness. Okay? It's just not. If you can't adapt on a weekly basis, and again, I'm not saying that every single week you have to do something different, but can you do something different when you're playing the one team? So you're going to play, even when the Chiefs come, even when you have to play the Chiefs, or even the Eagles, because the Eagles have 2 of them. But when you play the Chiefs, they don't have anybody out there that individually, we have to put Sauce on them. When we're going to play the Eagles, they're going to be 2 guys anyway. So, okay, whoever's on that side, and you got them. I'm okay with that. But this is probably the one team all season that you're going to face, unless there's an injury. Let's say they play the Eagles, and let's say A.J. Brown's out, and it's just Devonta Smith. And the Jets decide, no, we're doing our thing. And Devonta Smith goes off for like 8 and 150 and a touchdown, and the Eagles do what the Cowboys did, and we're just going to sit here and we're going to go, see, well, we don't adapt that way. We just play our defense, and that's just what we do. Why can't you once or twice a year even? That's all I'm asking. Be creative enough to understand the matchup. And go, we are going to adapt, and we are going to this. We're going to give this team something they haven't seen before. Because you know what? When you just play your defense and you do your thing, and basically you're like, hey, this is what we do, and we're going to come after you, and we're just going to be better than you, then what does that do for the offense? Well, the offensive guy now, all week when he's game planning, is going to go, hey, they don't change anything. They tell you what they're going to do, and they do it. They usually are better than you. But we are going to be better than them because, first of all, we're a very good team, and we're a better team than they are. Secondly, well, now I'm gonna move CJ. I'm gonna move CD all over the place. I'm gonna make sure that, hey, when they play zone, go to CD. When he's not covered to Sauce, go to CD. Look, it's just the way it is. It's life. Zach is gonna have to take advantage, and he's gonna have to. His growth process must start earlier than planned. It just has to. And if it ends up working, awesome. But if it doesn't, well, you tried. And the plan was a nice plan, but Aaron got hurt, screwed the plan up, and it is what it is. But they are not going to be a successful football team this year if they beat the Patriots 9-6 and they just shelter Zach. It's that's not going to be a long-term answer. All that's going to be is, it's just 1 week, and they got a couple breaks, and defense won the game. That is just not a winning formula for success for the long haul. And the schedule is just too tough. Even if they break this losing streak against the Patriots, I mean, if they don't show that they can be different on film, that they can do things that you're not expecting, that there's growth in Zach's game and all that. If they can't do that, then they're not beating the Chiefs or the Eagles. I mean, it's just not happening. Or the Dolphins, it's not happening. And as far as these press conferences, the reason that I'm kind of just done with them is because I'm sick and tired of hearing about, well, Zach has shown a lot of improvement, and he's shown, he's so confident. Do you know how quickly that confidence is going to go away if things go really bad on Sunday, especially following? So you can come up and I'm fine with the excuses of, well, he had to throw the ball in the fourth quarter, and that's where the turnovers. I'm all right with that. I'm not completely happy about it. Still don't think that that's a good sign. But I'm willing to give the mulligan in this situation based on the fact that it was a short week. You were playing one of the hotter teams in the league in their stadium. There's just a lot going on. You're still a relatively young team trying to figure things out. I'm willing to give them a break. But I'm not willing to do that on Sunday. The real thing, the thing that I really just want to get over with Zach is the talking. Not just Zach. A lot of other things, but that's one of them. I don't want to hear it anymore. I'm sick of the talking. I'm sick of he's a different guy. All right, I believe you. Okay? He's a different guy. He's confident and all that. Well, if he is a different guy and he's confident and all that, well, why are you still sheltering him? So come on, let's pick things up. Let's do something. And let's do something that the Patriots haven't seen before. On offense and defense. How about that? But especially on offense. Because defensively, to be honest with you, they don't really... This is not one of those games where Jeff Ulbrich has to be creative. This is just not one. This is a game where you just go and do your thing. But you know what? I can tell you right now, Bill O'Brien and Belichick are going to have plays out there on offense that nobody's seen before from this Patriot team. They're going to do things, and they're going to come up with a couple of different wrinkles and tricks and things of that nature to come up with some big plays. We'll find out whether or not they can sustain that, because I'm thinking Bill Belichick probably feels if I can just get one touchdown drive, just one, I can win this football game. Just give me one. Maybe even the first drive before the Jets catch up on what we're doing. Let's throw something they haven't seen before. Let's pick up a couple of big plays, score a touchdown early, and then we can go kick 3 field goals after that. We'll win. You put 16 points on the board. We're not gonna. No way Zach's getting over 16 with the way. Not against me, not against this defense. Not gonna happen. So enough of the talking. All right, I just don't want to. The talk is just no more talking.
It's hard to get anything going. We had a really good plan that we wanted to actually execute, and if you don't get plays, you can't do that.
Brees has said all the right things about his carries, Dalvin coming in, etc. But then,
so Nathaniel says that they had this game plan, but they just didn't have enough plays to get the game plan in. All right, well, yeah, that's not going to cut it, because then it wasn't really a good game plan. If it was a really good game plan, it would have worked. What is this? We had a really good game plan, but we couldn't get to it. The game starts with the first play, not with play 10. I mean, how often do we talk about the whole, well, you script the first 15 plays, you script this early, you script that early. That's what you scripted? Well, we're going to do what we did last week. We're going to have, 3 tight ends, and we're going to run the ball. I bet you they're not going to see that coming.
All the guys with such a limited amount of plays. Like I said, 49 plays or 47 plays last week.
Again, why do you have to wait until play 55 to get the ball to McCall Hardman? And look, I'm not trying to sit here and say that he's some superstar. Okay, but I thought the whole idea of bringing him in here was because he was going to open things up in the passing game. But now, because Aaron Rodgers isn't the quarterback, well, that's just completely changed. Why do we need to stretch the defense anymore? Because that's not what we're doing now. Now we're just going to play conservative. We're going to run the football, and we're not going to put Zach in bad position or positions to possibly turn the ball over. I don't think that is called winning football. I think that's being scared, and I am willing to give them the benefit of the doubt for a game. But I am not willing to give them the benefit of the doubt if this continues on Sunday. Once again, I'm not looking for 50 passes, but we need to see them opening the ball up a little bit more. And I even heard it in the broadcast. Seriously, have Zach thrown one pass over 30 yards so far? I don't think so. So why don't we do that early? And by the way, I'm not talking about, hey, first play of the game, Zach's going to go play action. He's going to chuck the ball 60 yards to McCall Hardman. It's incomplete, and we never see it again. That is not what I'm talking about. So can we have 3 passes in the game? Maybe 4? That's over 30 yards. Can we see that? Because if you can stretch the defense, it'll open up the running game. If you come out, all right, and for the first, because you can't tell me that if they come out against the Patriots and they have 3 receivers and 1 tight end instead of 3 tight ends, or 2 even, but if they come out in a passing formation early and start throwing the ball to open up the running game early a little bit, you just cannot tell me that is not going to be that is not going to help them. Now you have to run the ball. Don't get me wrong. You've got to establish Brees as well. But why don't we throw the ball to set up the run? Okay, why don't we try that? Because there's just no way that we're going to have any success against Belichick on Sunday if we just do what we do. You have to. It's a new coordinator. He's going to go back. He's going to study everything about Hackett and what he likes to do. But here's the thing. If you've got Hackett and his plays, Zach and his plays, what works best for Zach, what works best for Hackett, and you combine those, and you do the things that they least expect early in the game to get them off balance, I can't believe that won't be successful.
A lot of single coverage or single blocking on Parsons. Can you just walk us through?
Well, he moved
what the
around a
plan
lot,
was with
right?
him
That's
and
the
why
whole, that's the
obviously you
deal.
guys weren't
That's
able
the
to
he moved
him.
around a lot.
He's a very, very good football player. I give them tons of credit for their plan. They put him all over the place. They put him in the.
I just said that. Okay, here's the deal. Because I just said that. Two things. One, did you not think that they were going to move him all around? Because they move him all around. This wasn't anything that you didn't know. So if you knew in advance that he was going to be moved all around, okay, you just can't use that as an excuse because you knew that beforehand and you didn't fix it. It's funny. I was watching just a little bit. I was watching so many games, but I just zeroed in on Hutchinson for the Lions against Seattle, and I was watching the running back of Seattle giving Hutchinson, boom, little shoulder, and then the offensive lineman takes care of him, and then maybe another guy comes in. You just can't tell me, no matter where he is, when you have all week to prepare, that hey, wherever he winds up going, somebody else, when it's a passing situation, whoever that guy is, that second guy is, on either side, depending on which side he is. I mean, to me, I don't see that as a very difficult thing. If he's coming on this side, okay. Now, whether or not Zach makes the call or McGovern makes the call, somebody make the call, okay. Now, he's on this side, you make the call. The call is he's going to be doubled on this side or this side. Why is this confusing?
Middle, they put him on the outside. They do a great job because you never know exactly where he's going to be. We had a lot of different hands we wanted to put on him. That was something when I was here last week. That's what we told you we wanted to do. I think as the game kind of got out of hand and you get into more passing situations.
All right. I agree that he did. See, this is the problem I have with the and defense of the Jets and their staff as opposed to the critics. The critics kind of want to evaluate Zach Wilson and the Jets with what happened after the game was over already. Cowboys have a couple scores. We're in the second half. Everybody knows the Jets aren't going to win at this point. That's when all of a sudden, Parsons' stats start going up. He starts getting to Zach. We get some interceptions. The game was over already anyway. I am more concerned with the first half and the first couple of the first 5 minutes of the second half. That's all I'm concerned with, because by that time, game over. And at that point, Parsons wasn't all over the place, and he wasn't just making life miserable for Zach. Did he have a few good plays? Yes. Did the Cowboys defense in general have some good plays? Yes. But the Jets were in the game. The problem was when they came out, the problem was you didn't take advantage when you were supposed to, meaning Sauce needs to come up with that interception and score a touchdown. Now we have a completely different game, because even if the Cowboys come down and score a touchdown drive, you're still only 3 points down, okay? And keep in mind, the drive that the Cowboys did score on that drive, how many things did need to go their way thanks to the officials in order for them to score, okay? So when you don't make the plays, when you don't get the key turnover here or there that you're supposed to, and I don't even want to talk about the fumble either that they could have had. You don't make those plays when you're the underdog going into the stadium against a better team. You are never going to win the game anyway.
We even underestimated his speed on the quick game, what he does with us right now, and move forward and find a way to beat him.
Yeah, how do you underestimate this? That's just a very bad thing to say. That's just not good. How do you underestimate? Now, first of all, the coach might be silly enough to underestimate that. But again, that's just a really dumb thing to say. That's the dumbest thing he has said since he's been here. if you're the Jets, and you know, as I said countless times, and I'll continue to say so, and I just can't wait that if the Jets start losing, that I just can't wait for the articles about whether or not Joe Douglas or Robert Saleh's jobs are on the line. But if you are Joe Douglas, and especially, and you're looking at the way the situation is, well, you're being a realist too. And you are saying, all right, well, let's, I guess one thing that we are going to find out is whether or not this is going to continue with Zach. Because I think what they're still hoping is that, well, Aaron is still, hey, he's not going anywhere. He'll be here. He'll be here next year. This is going to be his team next year. And maybe we can get something, maybe there'll be still a lot of negatives with Zach this year, but you know what? If we get a lot of positives and he looks better than he did last year and it looks like he's improved even just a little bit, then that's what we're going to find out. And we're going to get that first round draft pick. It's not going anywhere. We are going to continue to build this football team. We will improve our talent maybe in a couple spots like the offensive line. Not that, again, I think it is as bad or anywhere near as bad as other people are saying. But that is something that they'll definitely do. And so in 2024, if that's our year, that's our year. We don't want to hear any of that because to build up and so forth, but I warned you. I warned you months ago. You can't put all your eggs in the basket. You just can't. You just can't do that because that's exactly what happens. It's not worth it. It's not worth to have you gutted like that. Now the win on Monday night took away a lot of the potential 100% disaster of the moment, but the wake-up call happened on Sunday, and things are going to get really, really ugly on Monday if they do not either beat the Patriots or at the very least they don't show drastic improvements in a sexy way on offense, especially from Zach. I have still confidence in this football team and these coaches that in the long run, even this season, that they're going to be able to, make it work, but only if they come out and they got to change the narrative real quick. I didn't like the narrative on Sunday against the Cowboys. I didn't like the narrative of how the coaching staff let us down. I didn't like the narrative of Sauce dropping a pick six and showing brick hands once again. That's not what I thought we were getting this year from the defense or maybe even the coaching. But I'm not going to let that happen again as far as the coaching. I guess they are what they are. And I don't believe that I'm having a hard time believing that they've got the capability as a coaching staff on defense to be a special defense. I've kind of lost my faith on that. I'm not gonna completely go away on it, but I went from being pretty faithful that they could be a really special defense, not Bears defense, but really a really good defense historically for this franchise. And that could maybe keep them in games and win games and put them in a position to be contending and maybe even sneak into a wild card spot. Good. And I just, unless that changes against the Chiefs or the Eagles, if we're in the situation again, no matter what, we got to see something different and creative, both offensively and defensively. And until that happens, unfortunately, I just don't think I'm going to expect anything special this season. But it all starts on Sunday, as far as that is concerned. We'll see what happens. I'm going to speak for a lot of Jet fans when I just say, you know what? This is football, man. I just want to enjoy it. I thought we were going to enjoy 17 games of just fun football. We were going to have a quarterback that was going to throw the ball around, and he wasn't going to be perfect, but it was going to be fun. And it's all gone away. And I just want to have fun. That's it. It's football. It's entertainment. I want to be entertained. So please entertain us.